Good afternoon and welcome to Woodstock City Council, June 5th, 2025. This hybrid meeting is being held in person here in council chambers and electronically in accordance with section 238, subsection 3.3 of the Municipal Act and section 16.6.24 of the City of Woodstock Procedure Bylaw. This meeting is being live streamed to the city's YouTube channel and a recording will be posted on the city's website following the meeting. An agenda of the meeting can be found on the agendas, meetings, and minutes pages of the city's website. And all councilors are in attendance, so no virtual attendance expected today. And before we get into things, I do have a proclamation. I'm going to come to the floor. Whereas the province of Ontario has designated the month of June as Seniors Month, a time to celebrate and recognize the enduring impact and achievements of older adults in our communities. And whereas seniors have played and continue to play a vital role in building and sustaining the economic strength, social fabric, and high quality of life enjoyed across Woodstock and beyond. And whereas older adults contribute as valued community members, offering their time, experience, and leadership as volunteers, mentors, caregivers, and engaged residents. And whereas during the month of June, Woodstock joins communities across Ontario in reaffirming our commitment to honoring, respecting, and supporting seniors and expressing gratitude for their lifelong contributions. Therefore, I, Mayor Jerry Accioni, do hereby proclaim June 1st to the 30th, 2025 as Seniors Month, here in the City of Woodstock, dated this 5th day of June, 2025 in Woodstock, Ontario. So with that, I would like to welcome Mr. Dave Clark up to present. Thank you very much, Dave. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
I'd just like to thank Mayor Accioni on behalf of the Southgate Center for all that the city does for the senior community at our center, as well as making Woodstock such a wonderful place for its senior citizens to live in. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Want to take a photo? Thank you for that. Now we'll get into the meeting. We did have a closed session today that started about a minute before 1 o'clock and we finished about a minute after 1 o'clock. It was short and sweet. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Councillor Tate?
I, Councillor Tate, declare the following potential indirect pecuniary interests. Agenda item number 14B1, general nature, is my son is employed by one of the contractors that submitted a bid, and 14.14B2, I have an indirect conflict. My son is employed by this successful contractor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Any disclosures of new business? Matters arising from the minutes? And that brings us to the minutes. Councillor Leatherborough.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Lauder, that the minutes of the regular meeting of Woodstock City Council held on May 15th, 2025 be adopted.
Thank you. Any questions with those? Seeing none, all those in favor? None opposed. That is carried. There are no additions to the agenda that I'm aware of, no presentations, no delegations, and no consideration of planning reports today. but we do have some consideration of correspondence. Looking for a motion, Councillor Lauder.
Thank you. I'll move that Woodstock City Council approves the in-kind donation request from Good Beginnings for the Touch a Truck event being held on June the 13th, 2025.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Wismer Van Meer. Discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? None opposed. That is carried. Next up brings us to 10B, WDDS petition, request for pedestrian crosswalk. Councillor Leatherborough.
Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council direct staff to review the request from Woodstock and District Developmental Services regarding a pedestrian crosswalk at Bisham Park Drive and Lansdowne Avenue in accordance with the Transportation Master Plan.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Martin. Questions or discussion? Councillor Leatherborough.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just wanted to volley the question to the city engineer, just for the public's benefit as it relates to the Transportation Master Plan and what next steps could look like.
Your worship, through the councillor. Yes, in anticipation of council approving the policies that came out of the TMP, we have already identified a number of areas that we want to look at in terms of if they meet either traffic calming measures or necessitate a pedestrian crossing or an all-way stop. This stretch was one of them, so we are planning on looking into it. Whether or not we suspect that there may be a PXO necessary along the strip, whether or not it's doubtful that we would recommend one at Bisham, just because there's no sidewalk on the other side of the road, which would create an unsafe condition for the pedestrians as well as leave the city open for liability. But we are planning on looking into it.
Okay, thank you for that. Anyone else? Seeing none, call a vote. All those in favor? None opposed. That's carried. Next up, 10C, Councillor Schanberg's requested following correspondence. Councillor Schanberg.
Yeah, make a motion that Woodstock City Council support the resolution from the City of Kingston opposing all provisions in Bill 5 that reduce environmental protections and Ontario's proud legacy of protections of endangered species, and that override the rule of law and that nullify municipal planning authority. And further, that City Council urged the province of Ontario to support housing and infrastructure development in ways that align with sound environmental planning and wildlife protection and empower municipalities with appropriate planning tools. And further, that this resolution be circulated to the Honorable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, the Honorable Stephen Lecce, Minister of Energy and Mines, the Honorable Rob Flack, Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the Honorable Todd McCarthy, Minister of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, and of course, Ernie Hardeman, Oxford MPP.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder on that? Councillor Wismer Van Meer. Discussion, Councillor Schanberg.
I guess first things first, this was something approved as far as the motion goes by the City of Kingston on May 20th, and they circulated to all municipalities, obviously AMO municipalities, as well over 400 of them on May 21st. So of course, today we're now into June, and we know that the province of Ontario has voted on this Bill 5 as far as approving it, which was done yesterday. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we can't still sort of say, as a city of Woodstock, what our thoughts are on the Protecting Ontario by Unleashing Our Economy Act 2025. I mean, I'd want to complain just about the name of the bill, but nonetheless, Queen's Park passed the legislation yesterday, and I think it was too quick for public dialogue at all levels, including, of course, conservation authorities and municipal planning groups, and naturally also the First Nations not properly being consulted. And of course, then the idea is you go forward and go into a summer recess where all of a sudden you think you really haven't discussed something well enough before it was voted on. And one of the people I contacted right away, especially about the endangered species side of this, was Scott Gillingwater from the UTRCA. He runs a program called SOAR, which particularly is protecting turtles that are endangered in the province of Ontario. And quite frankly, most of them are in the Thames River watershed in southwestern Ontario and all the work he's done. And naturally, we wouldn't want that policy to take effect as far as Bill 5 goes, as far as some of the stipulations they have about the environment and really ignoring the environment and the Endangered Species Act.
Thank you. Councillor Wismer Van Meer, a seconder.
Just kind of to tail off of what Councillor Schadenberg said, I actually spoke to Scott as well. Scott's a friend from high school, so he was one of the first people I thought of when I saw this bill, not only, but also just having this correspondence come forward. And he recently did an article with the Beacon Herald, and I think it was mid-May on this bill. So it's going back a few weeks ago, but a couple of things that he mentioned in there that kind of stood out to me was that with the Endangered Species Act, particularly being concerning for Southwestern Ontario, they have already, in this region, we've already lost 60 to 90% of its wetlands, depending on the county, and about 60–80% of that is forest as well and development. So there's already been a large quantity of the wetlands and forestries that have been affected, and now this kind of puts that at even a higher risk. So I will share this article on my socials if anybody follows me to read. I think that Scott really pointed out some really interesting points, as Councillor Schadenberg said, on the endangered species part, but the work that's being done here within not only Oxford County, but Southwestern Ontario. I think it's really important for folks to pay attention to see what could be at risk even further through this.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Martin.
Thank you. I'd actually like to propose an amendment to the motion that's on the floor. I'd like to add a couple of statements. After the words, the phrase ending appropriate planning tools, I'd like to add, and further that City Council call on the provincial government to rescind Bill 5 and return to consultation with the public, Ontario municipalities and First Nations, and further that City Council voice opposition to the establishment of a special economic zone within the City of Woodstock as currently defined in Bill 5. I would like to add to circulation the Minister, Vic Fideli of Minister of Economic Development, and to all Ontario municipalities. And I'll wait for a seconder before I comment.
Before that, have you provided that to the clerk? Thank you. Is there a seconder on the motion? Councillor Schadenberg. Discussion? Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor Accioni. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you brought this forward, Councillor Schadenberg. I've read through Bill 5 twice, and I have a lot of concerns around the overall content. But first, I'll say that this bill, and I'll speak to the amendment and the two criteria that I've put in here, that this bill would enable Cabinet to designate any location in Ontario as a special economic zone. And then they would allow any exemption to a company or proponent or project in that zone from having to comply with provincial regulations and our municipal bylaws. And so that speaks to why I have added in those amendments. And I will wait for further comment once the amendment has been addressed.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Tate.
Through the chair, yeah, I'll speak to the amendment and appreciate that, because as I was reading about it, the province did say that they were going to, because there was backlash from the Indigenous, and they said that the province would amend Bill 5 to include duty to consult provisions throughout their legislation, and then they did not. So good to add that amendment.
Thank you. Councillor Lauder.
I certainly support that amendment. I think this is a pretty dangerous bill if it's in its entirety the way it read. I too read through it a couple of times, and each time you think, how much worse can this get? So I certainly support that amendment.
Thank you. Anyone else on the amendment? Okay, seeing none. Can we do a friendly amendment? I guess I'd look at everybody if this is friendly, or do I have to call the vote? Okay, yep. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna call for a vote on the amendment portion itself, just to be clear. So if nobody has anything further, all those in favor on the amendment? None opposed. So now we'll go to the original motion, including the amendment, of course. Any further discussion on that? Or questions? Counselor Martin? Oh, sorry. Counselor Tate, thank you.
Just a short comment, because I agree with everything that's been said, and thanks to Councillor Schadenberg to bring this forward. And it does make it a little concerning that they fast-tracked it. Now, I realize that the bill was for mining, but it's been passed, so it doesn't mean they're just going to use it for mining, and concerned with it.
Thank you. Counselor Martin?
Thank you, Mayor Atchone. I appreciate the opportunity to comment. While I understand the intent of this bill is to insulate the Ontario economy against American plans, what it concerns me that there is an overall lack of detail and clarity in the plan. There is no detail provided on the process or circumstances under which this plan and special economic zones would be implemented. What are all of the potential projects that could be identified as necessary for our economy and fast-tracked through approvals? Mining has been very clearly identified as an area of focus, but what else is at risk? Is a landfill an identified special economic necessity in our community that would waive all municipal oversight? Would a mega site or an EV battery plant in our backyard or on rural lands be something that would be considered for a special economic zone? It's interesting to note that within the bill, there's an entire schedule, it's Schedule 8 in this bill, that addresses the redevelopment of the, what I would call contentious and expensive Ontario Place Spa, taking away any applicability of the Environmental Bill of Rights legislation on that project. And so there are sweeping ramifications in Bill 5. I'd like to see more transparency. I'd like to see what the clear role of a special economic zone is. What designated projects could be, who is a trusted proponent, and there's currently no indication on what the municipal or First Nation input would be on establishing a special economic zone. And so for that reason, I added the amendments and fully support what Councillor Schadenberg has put forward here.
Thank you. Anyone else? Counselor Schadenberg?
Just gonna say the one term that isn't mentioned yet, I don't believe, is a ring of fire as far as using it for mining purposes and whatnot. So it's one thing to sort of say that even if you could logically think of the ring of fire, possibly it could be, should be approved to be able to create some mining possibilities in Northern Ontario. First Nations were never consulted properly. And then what do you have to do to build a road basically to get up to this area to be able to do the mining? In other words, what are you crossing? What kind of bridges, what kind of roads are you building? How many trees are you taking down, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, just to be able to build this road. So as Councillor Martin said, not enough consultation was done in any of this as far as getting this bill through.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'll just add that I'm going to be voting in favor of this as well, even though I really am in support of reducing red tape just in general. Initial hearing about this, I was I'm still in favor of bits and pieces of it. I do have a lot of questions, and that's I'm thankful this is brought forward today to council. The intent, again, support to protect us from our US neighbors, to keep as much manufacturing here as possible. I just have so many other questions, and I wish I had more opportunity to answer them before this would have come into effect to the extent of this. And therefore I will be voting in favor of it. And for that, anyone else before I call the vote? Seeing none, all those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. No presentations from staff. No mayor's report, no counselor reports, but we do have some department reports, which is administrative services. 14A1, application for tax relief under section 354 of the Municipal Act. Looking for a motion, Counselor Leatherborough.
Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council directs the treasurer to, one, cancel, reduce, or refund the taxes levied in 2024 and 2025. Two, write off taxes related to unsuccessful tax sale as detailed in the reports.
Thank you. Looking for a seconder, Counselor Martin. Discussion or questions? We're gonna let her off the hook. All right, all those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. And from engineering this afternoon. Brings us to 14B1, Petulo Ave reconstruction, Counselor Wismer Van Meer.
Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council award the tender for the reconstruction of Petulo Avenue to Sierra Infrastructure, Inc. in the amount of $1,385,512.10, inclusive of HST.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Counselor Martin, discussion or questions? Counselor Schanberg.
Yeah, I have a question from the mayor through to Harold DeHaan from engineering. I guess the best way of asking it is, there's an upsizing of services in that area, but was it due to be replaced anyway? I mean, Petulo has been around for quite a while now as far as an industrial area.
Your worship, through the counselor. No, it hasn't really met its end of life yet, but yeah, the sole reason the work is happening is to upsize, to create future development lands upstream.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, call a vote. All those in favor? That is carried. Next up, 14B2, 14.B.2, Dundas Street Reconstruction Tender Award. Looking for a motion? Counselor Lauder.
Thank you. I'll move that Woodstock City Council award the tender for the water main replacement on Dundas Street to Viewcon Construction Limited in the amount of $1,322,849.47, inclusive of HST.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Counselor Martin. Discussion or questions? Okay, I actually have a question through to Mr. DeHaan. Where exactly is this construction? I was asked this morning and I couldn't answer on Dundas Street.
Your worship, through the counselor, it's on the north side of Dundas, near near the Toyota dealership.
Oh, at the far end of Dundas Street. So not in the separated part. Is it in the, I was asked if it was going to be the eastbound or westbound lanes of Dundas, and I just assumed it was in that separated section. Sorry.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, so lands down to Hauser's, well, just past Hauser's Lane.
So it is in
Yes,
that
yeah, sorry,
stretch.
I was thinking a little too far over there.
Yeah. So is it, are we tearing up east,
So that would be
West.
that would be the westbound lanes.
westbound?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate
Sorry.
that. No, it's okay. I couldn't answer it either, so. Any other further questions before I call the vote? All those in favor? That is carried. (14B.3) Transit Fare Program. Counselor Tate.
I'll move that Woodstock City Council approve an additional $30,000 to account 0709-77143-0314 transit admin fee assistance subsidy to be funded from the slot machine reserve fund.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Counselor Wismer Van Meer. Discussion or questions? Counselor Schadenberg.
I guess this question's open to whoever really can answer it. The fair program, who exactly administers it? Is it Parks and Recreation? Who administers the fair fund across the city?
Your worship, through the counselor, it is Parks and Rec personnel that, or staff that administers the program, which we are thankful for.
I was surprised when I saw this under your report, so, yeah. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll call a vote. All those in favor? That is carried, none opposed. And from Cultural Services, 14C.1 Reeves Creative Hub on 4. Counselor Martin.
Thank you. That Woodstock City Council approves 100% of the $235,185 from the reserve for capital projects to be available for financing the 4th floor renovation at the Woodstock Art Gallery.
Thank you. Second by Counselor Lauder. Discussion or questions? Seeing none? Oh, Counselor Schadenberg.
Yeah, since our acting curator Stephanie Porter is here, we really should ask her. The 4th floor has been something, I know she's worked for the art gallery for a long, long time. The 4th floor, however, is something that's been a project for a long time, and there's grants involved with this as well. What do we get for our 235,000, and what's the total project being involved here, including grant money?
Okay, to come forward. Welcome. Yeah, it'll be on.
Right. Through the mayor to Councillor Schadenberg. Great question. We were awarded a grant, the GICB grant in 2022, valued in $940,000 towards the renovation of the 4th floor. And the contributing percentage was 80%. So the 235,000 that council approved as their contribution was projected to cover the costs. And former director curator Mary Reed was going to offset that 235 that council approved through fundraising efforts. But now, because of the timeline and you know, the because of the timeline and supply chain issues and tariffs and inflation, they're projecting that the project is a little more than originally projected. So that's why we want to raise funds in addition to the 235, and we are looking at and are eligible to apply for the cultural spaces grant. So we're looking into that, as well as we have interest from other private investors. Did that answer your question?
I think so. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Anyone else have any questions? No? Okay, you're good. Any other questions or discussion before I call the vote? Seeing none, all those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. Nothing from Parks and Rec, Economic Development, Clerks, CAO's Office, Human Resources, Fire Services, Public Works, or IT. No special committee or advisory task force reports. No notice of motions, but we do have a new business. 17A, Counselor Martin.
Thank you. That Woodstock City Council authorized free transit, including paratransit services, on Saturday, June 14th, 2025, to facilitate travel into the downtown core for Pride Family Day.
Is there a seconder on this motion? Counselor Leatherborough, discussion, Counselor Martin.
Yeah, the motion speaks for itself, I think. My goal is to facilitate moving people around the city for Family Day. Of course, there is construction in the downtown, and a large number of people do show up into Museum Square. And so if we can facilitate moving them around the city during those hours, I would like to support doing so. Offering free transit accomplishes a part of that goal.
Thank you. Anyone else? Comments, questions? Counselor Shattenberg.
Yeah, just curious if it's possible to do an amendment to this motion to sort of think that maybe the free transit might be a good idea, but say from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. on that day and not starting right at 6 a.m. when the buses start on the Saturday. Just sort of so people could access the Family Day celebrations for the Pride Festival.
Okay, thank you. Is there discussion amongst us to add a friendly amendment, or do I call a vote on that? So it doesn't look like we've got. Okay, then I'm gonna separate that out and look for a seconder on that motion, and then, yeah, 11 to 6, I believe you said.
11 to 6 is something that makes sense a little bit ahead of time, and so you can come downtown for lunch and maybe a little bit later than what the program goes till 6 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Is there a seconder to that? Seeing none? Okay, that fails. Back to the original motion. Any discussion? Counselor Tate.
Yeah, through the chair, I'm not going to support the motion, and the reason is, I think we did it last year, and I believe the cost, I checked with the city engineer, would be $5,000 in lost revenue, so it's free for the people riding, but it's not free for the taxpayers. And we did just give $5,000 through the grants committee for security for that day. And my reason is, if we do it for one, we have to do it for everybody. So any activity that comes, that's going to be downtown or somewhere else in the city, they can ask for free transit, and how are we gonna say no? So every time it does this, it's gonna be $5,000, because you can't distinguish, it's gotta be the all day. So it does add up, and the new tax bill is coming out in July. We don't have any money, and I keep hearing complaints, they want us to stick to the basics, and so I can't support it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Counselor Lauder.
Thank you. I also won't be supporting the motion. And I think Councillor Tate has actually covered the reasons. It's again, like the $5,000 grant that we just approved recently. And again, the cost to the taxpayer, and I don't like to see this setting a precedent. It's nothing against the group or anything like that. It's just could be setting a precedent for future requests. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, I'll just add, I am going to be voting in favor of this, though I did like the amendment, I might add, to the timelines a little bit more constraint for Pride specific. I do think it's really important, especially considering all the construction. We don't want anybody to be hesitant to come down and spend the day, and for that reason, I will be voting in favor of it. Anyone else before I call the vote? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried 4-3. No draft bylaws today, and that brings us to questions and addresses by council. And today, we're going to start with Councillor Lauder.
Thank you. Crossing Guard Appreciation is being celebrated this week, June 2nd through June 6th. Please show appreciation and respect to those who work through rain, snow, and all kind of weather conditions and traffic to ensure that our young people cross safely while going to and from school. And at the Art Gallery on June 18th, 5 to 7 is the Student Open House, a collaborative community project made possible through the generous support of the City of Woodstock Parks and Forestry Department. Focus on nature. And thank you.
Thank you. Next, Councillor Leatherborough.
Happy Pride, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. We're going to bounce over to Councillor Schadenberg.
Yeah, the Oxford County Trails Council, their website, oxfordcountytrailscouncil.ca. Saturday, June the 7th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., they have Take a Hike Oxford Day. It's on the north shore of the Piddock Conservation Area. Reptiles will be there, face painting. Don't think there'll be face painting for the reptiles though, but I haven't got that confirmed. Live music and lots of other kids' activities. Kids Do is the next day, Sunday, June the 8th in Southside Park. 8:30 a.m. is when they start. I know the registration time is completed for that, and that's probably so they can order T-shirts and whatnot for the kids participating. It's ages 3 to 13. The Woodstock Triathlon Club will run the event. So that's this Sunday. If you see all that activity going on in Southside Park, you'll know what it's about. They'll be running and then biking and then running at whatever prescribed distance they have for their age group. And the Woodstock Horticultural Society on Tuesday, June the 10th at 7 p.m. at the Herna Park Cafeteria. They have their annual meeting or monthly meeting, monthly meeting. And it's Bring a Plant or Buy a Plant sale, but their Heather Gerard is their guest speaker, and she'll be talking about unique plants. So I'm guessing those are plants maybe that eat insects, stuff like that. I don't know if they eat reptiles, but we'll find out.
I'd hate to come across one of those. Councillor Tate.
A couple things. First, I'd like to thank Lieutenant Jones for inviting me to the 40th annual ceremonial review down at the ship. I've never actually been in attendance to it, and I really enjoyed it. Councillor Lauder and Councillor Schadenberg was there. Councillor Schadenberg spoke on behalf of the mayor, and it was really enjoyable to see the kids, and I really appreciate that she emailed and asked me to come. And speaking on Bill 5, it was in the paper, but the Cowan Foundation did, it was like a fundraiser, but we planted 660 plants down at the old golf course. But I'd like to make a special mention because Rita from our parks and our deputy CO clerk actually also came on the Saturday. I always say what great staff we have, so I really appreciate they came out on their own time. It is going to be fantastic down there. There's ponds, and then we also raked for turtles. It's going to be beautiful. And in the meantime, after that happened, a friend of mine was asked from the county to do he has a drone. He did a picture over Hodges Trail at Cedar Creek. And if nobody's been there, it is absolutely stunning. So, and it was started originally way back. I think it was Ducks Unlimited contacted the Cowan Foundation. There's a whole bunch of partnerships. But you've got small kids or anybody, it's beautiful. The day he went out, he said, I think there was 4 people walking it. And in the summer, you need bug repellent, but we have beautiful trails in Oxford County. So it's something to see and to, and to protect. And just my other final comment is the Director of Public Works, the trade show that you hosted was phenomenal. I heard it's one of the biggest there's ever been, and it's a big boon to our economy because people come here, they stay here. I was there yesterday, and I have to thank all the Public Works employees that were there working, volunteering. And a big thank you to the Public Works that have been working on my corner to try and get traffic to stop going through stop signs. So just on that, I cannot believe the number of people that are so nasty in their cars. When we were there, a car squealed up to a stop sign because they didn't see it. So all 4 of them were stopped because now 4-way. She honked at the woman in front of her and then started yelling. And I'm like, you are in residential neighborhood in Woodstock. I don't know why you have to go so fast, but it's very eye-opening. Please slow down. And there's nowhere you have to get to that. We've had 2 accidents already, so thanks to the Board of Works for all their work.
Thank you. Councillor Martin.
Thank you. Happy Pride. I will continue to remind people that if you have not been vaccinated for measles, this is a great time to get vaccinated for measles. And you'll see in the news today that there are some information that reinforces how important it is to get vaccinated. I'll also highlight that there are a number of Pride events throughout the month of June. There is a story time coming up on Saturday. There's also a ponies and pottery event on Saturday. Of course, Family Day, June 14th in the Museum Square. All kinds of activities for all ages. It's a fantastic day. We've had beautiful sunshine in the past and hoping for that again. There is a trivia night coming up. There is high tea coming up. There's so many events for everyone. It's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to show support, and it's an opportunity to connect with people in the 2S LGBTQI plus community. OxfordPride.ca is the place to find out more. And I wish everyone a wonderful day. Thankful for the rain. It was gotten pretty dusty out there, and it was much needed. But enjoy your day.
Thank you. Last, certainly not least, Councillor Wismer Van Meer, or acting mayor this past month.
I'm gladly will give that back to you now. It was a lot of fun. It was, I got to experience some things that I never thought I would in this role. So thank you to the staff during that time who were very supportive and helped me through many, many, many questions that I had along the way. So thank you. It's great to have you back, Mayor. Just a small plug for Big Brothers Big Sisters. We have our Bid for Kids' Sake online auction on right now. It wraps up tomorrow at 4:30. Lots of great items on there, including some tickets for the Women's Open for the Golf PGA in Mississauga. Some local artwork by Julie Hawkins. So lots of ways to not only support our local businesses, but support young people in the community as well. And I wanted to just mention this weekend is the Walk for Lupus. Unfortunately, I'm not able to attend on Saturday. I know that they invited council members to come out. I did send my regrets, but Jan Robb, who actually spearheads someone in Woodstock, I met her many years ago in my past time at Heart FM. And Jan's somebody that lives with lupus and has really advocated and done a lot of work in raising awareness for this disease. So they have their walk coming up on Saturday, June 7th. It is in Southside Park, and they will open the check-ins at 10 a.m. and the walk is going to begin at 11 a.m. If you're not able to attend, you can also donate online too for them and support that. Lupus is one of those diseases that I believe they still say it's the disease of 1,000 faces because there are so many different symptoms and such that people live with through that disease. So knowing people personally that live through that, I think it's a great initiative and something to support. And if you're able to attend, you can go cheer those on or join those walking on Saturday at Southside Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me start off by saying thank you again to Councillor Wismer Van Meer for stepping in and doing all the duties of the office. I greatly appreciate that. Staff said you were fantastic in asking questions and really do appreciate that. But also to all of council, as I'm aware, everybody kind of attended different things and absent, so we were well represented, and I'm really thankful for that. Asia was an incredible trip. It's no secret that we were away. Met with a couple dozen businesses while we were away, and kind of coming back feeling even better than I went with the kind of general attitudes across the ocean about what is going on south of the border right now. There doesn't seem to be huge concerns with, if I may say, the T word, tariffs. Business is kind of as normal, kind of continue on. They make long-term plans. They're going to stick to those plans. And we were able to confirm that while overseas. Today started off really well with United Way Day of Caring. Went to their breakfast at Southside Park, even though it was a little rainy. It certainly didn't hold anybody back from attending breakfast. And I really want to say thank you to all those that go out and help not only today, but every day here in the community. It really makes a huge difference, and I'm so proud to be from the city of Woodstock. Next up, went to ViewTech. ViewTech is celebrating their 60th anniversary in business today, and I was able to welcome 17 people from Japan visiting our city. that is going around. And next up, they're heading to Niagara Falls and the CN Tower. So it was great to see them here, and thankful for ViewTech as they're such a huge part of the community, second biggest employer here in the city behind Toyota. Next, I went over, had barbecue lunch at the Woodstock Hospital, the Rapid Relief Team. I want to thank Councillor Tate for passing along a message that they were hosting a thank you to all the hospital staff. And it was nice to be there and just thank them for the work they do every single day. And then we luckily had a couple of police officers and the Woodstock Fire Department stop in just as I was leaving to get in and say thank you as well and get some thank you lunch. Walk for Lupus was mentioned. I will be there Saturday morning to welcome everybody. And happy Seniors Month if you missed the beginning proclamation, and of course, happy Pride. Oh, yes, thank you. Tomorrow's the barbecue at Southgate Center. Thank you, Councillor Tate. I should have pulled up my calendar to get all the invites. Yeah, make sure you stop in. That was not mentioned, and I'm sure there's something else I'm missing on Saturday, but please stay tuned, stay on the website, cityofwoodstock.ca, go under the events calendar, and it's always full. There's lots to do here in the city of Woodstock and couldn't be more proud. And I do want to make a special note. I know it was mentioned the AOR show was fantastic. Congratulations to Public Works. It was so impressive to see thousands of people there that wouldn't necessarily be here in the city of Woodstock. So, in speaking with a couple of the restaurant owners yesterday, they couldn't believe the amount of people here. So, congratulations to our team that was assisting, as well as all of Oxford County. I know it was a big group effort on this one. So, with that, I'll look for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Wismer Van Meer. All those in favor? We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.